So I was just scrolling down the Derticus archive, and as I was doing that, I had the idea of creating a drawing involving all the characters in it. Now, there were a lot of characters, so it took some time. It took me 11 hours over the past 3 days to create this just line art painting. There's no color in it except for the dark green line art. Throughout this video, I'm going to explain my thought process when creating this. There's a time lapse sped up like times 64, so it's shortened down to 10 minutes. And yeah, you'll notice me consistently switching to Google Chrome and back. That's because I need references for all these characters since there are so many characters. I start off the drawing with Derticus. Derticus is the main focus of the painting since he's the whole center of this entire society. Compared to his Minecraft skin, he seems a lot more naturally shaped. He has this like wide face and broad shoulders. It's kind of how the original creator of Derticus actually imagined him. I also drew him next to his best friend Derticus from the original canon. I move on to drawing the children of Derticus. You can see here young Derticus Musume is showing Muzuko what seems to be a drawing. And next here you can see older Derticus Musume just making a peace sign. Next, I start working on Dertiman. Now, I keep redrawing Dertiman over here because it was hard to get the pose I wanted for Dertiman. I wanted him to be in the air so that I can fill up more space in the final drawing and have more room for other characters. Over here you can see I draw Tammy in front of Nihility because they're both associated with the other world, which is a thing we're going to see a lot. All the characters related to other worlds are going to be around that area. Here I draw Shisoku. Here I draw AGK holding Derticus's hand because she's associated, or she was adopted by Derticus according to the lore. I also draw Sappho from Transnoia here. That's just based off a sketch of Sappho I made a long time ago. Throughout this drawing, you'll notice that a lot of the hands and feet are very low detail. That's because for the amount of characters I'm drawing, it's just more efficient for me to do it this way. I draw a helicopter to carry various characters. That way I could use up more room in the higher part of the painting while making it seem natural. Here you can see me drawing the Dirty Man squad. Then I start working on a billboard because the Derticlan network has its own character page, even though it's not its own character. You can see I start drawing an anvil here. The reason behind that is because I'm going to represent the Derticlan officers as objects. Then I work on Leal and Counting Chaos, which the two are associated with each other because they are both Webtoon protagonists. As I work on this drawing, I will add more filler characters to take up space, kind of like Deformicus, Dare the Snail, and a bunch of other things. The Dare Girls that you see me drawing here have never actually been in a complete drawing before. So with this, I kind of had to be creative and design the characters kind of for the first time with a little bit of reference, of course, uh, on the spot. You can also see I include a bunch of Dairy Clan symbols around them. That's because they all kind of relate to the Dairy Clan. I also include Shelter and the Dairy Tulu Clanin because uh, I didn't know where else to put them. You can see I draw Impicus over here attached to Derticus's head. That's because in the picture Impicus is originally from, he was attached to Derticus's head. You can also see me drawing a fez on Erticus's head. That's because in the lore, Hatticus is stolen from Wizardicus. When I draw Buff Gun and Ripticus here, you can see I try to give them poses where they flex. I originally was going to make them lock hands, but I didn't want them to seem like a romantic couple, so I changed it to this instead. I go back to Tammy and draw his emblem here from Fruit Game. Here you can see I start using a notepad to keep track of my characters. That's because with the amount of characters there are, it's hard to tell which characters I have already added to the drawing, and so I start removing them from a big list. When I start working on Apollocus, it's pretty weird because Apollocus has never been drawn in this three-quarter perspective before. So I had to be creative and work on his design. There's also, in this drawing, a lot of characters will be drawn with the full bodies for the first time. And that's hard because I have to kind of design the characters' lower bodies since they are almost never included in original works. So you can see I give Apollocus a belt. I decide to add Revivicus here next to Apollocus because in the story, Revivicus makes his first appearance. He's associated with Apollocus, Abacus, and Duplicus. Duplicus will be drawn later, even though he has never been depicted before. One thing I want to point out as this goes further is um, characters on the left side are rotated more counterclockwise, and the characters on the right side are rotated more clockwise. This is an artistic choice and not a design flaw. Here I just draw Sonicus and his friends on paper because they were just joke characters and I didn't want to really include them as their own character. You can see here I rotate Derticus and add Amicus to point to Gorillacus. When I start drawing Tetricus, I originally planned to have him be behind Revivicus, but that space was already really crowded, and it was hard to tell what type of character it was, so I decided to move him to center of the image. I also use cross-hatching to represent the colors of Tetricus because this is a black and white picture. You can see when I start drawing the Kaichows, I include Fever Kaichou, which was originally created by a Dare Clan member. Then I add Derticus, Musume, and Musico, pool version. The reason I add them as their own separate characters is because their designs are really unique. It's kind of like what I did with Derticus Musume, where I separated her older and younger self as two separate characters. When I draw TWT girl, I wanted to give her a reason to cry, and so that's why I made her in this kneeling position right by a plate of dropped cookies. These are the Dare cookies. When I draw Wizardicus here, he doesn't actually have a hat. That's because it was stolen. I decided to put Laphicus and Chaticus together because they were both emotes, and I associate them together in my head. I draw Derticus in the dabbing position because the type of character he is, I expect him to be kind of this goofball that photobombs. Here is when I draw Duplicus. I decided to draw him as a spider uh, because in the story he uses string to duplicate materials. As the drawing reaches its end, I go through all the old sketches and clean up the line art around them. The reason for that is because when I started the drawing, I was pretty unconfident about what I was gonna do, but as the drawing continued, I decided to be more final with my decisions. And the last thing you see me do in this drawing is shading nihility and barrel to add more contrast to the background and make them stand out. Thank you for watching this time-lapse video and listening to my stupid narration.